JBNN will keep you informed. I'm Michelle Jones. Before we get into the news, please remember to like, subscribe, leave a comment, and share the news with family and friends today. Now on to the news. Met Service tracking new tropical disturbance in the Atlantic. The Met Service of Jamaica says it is monitoring an area of disturbed weather over the central Atlantic Ocean that is showing a low potential for developing into a tropical cyclone over the next few days. Located east of the Lesser Antilles, this disturbance is expected to interact with an approaching area of low pressure during the next several days, according to the National Hurricane Center, NHC. It says currently there's a 30% chance of the disturbance developing into a tropical depression within the next 7 days. Development of this system is possible while it approaches the Lesser Antilles during the early to middle part of next week and moves generally west-northwestward, nearer over the Greater Antilles towards the latter part of next week, the NHC says. Should the disturbance go into a tropical storm, it will be named Debbie. Police constable injured attempting to foil murder in Clarendon. A police officer attached to the Clarendon Police Division has been hospitalized following gunshot injuries sustained while responding to an incident in the community of Inverness on Friday night. The intended target of the attack was also reportedly injured in the mayhem. He too was admitted to the hospital in stable condition. Commanding officer for the Clarendon Police Division, Superintendent Shane McCullough, said the injured policeman was attending a church service in the area when he responded to the incident sometime after 8 p.m. He heard explosions and cries for help and intervened, and an exchange of gunfire took place between him and the suspects. He is currently at the hospital and about to undergo surgery. This is not one of the things you want to hear as a commanding officer, but we're just hoping and praying that everything works out well and he pulls through, said McCullough. What we understand is that some men went to a shop and sought to carry out a killing of another man with whom we understand there was some disagreement. So it was during that process the constable heard the cry for help and intervened, McCullough said. McCullough urged the perpetrators to surrender, saying, "I will take this opportunity to tell those persons who carried out this cowardly act to turn themselves in, because one thing we can assure, the full gamut of the JCF and the Clarendon Police Division, we're coming for you." He said an immediate operational response was launched following the incident and investigations are ongoing. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, is probing the matter. Charred remains of 33-year-old man found inside burnt-out house in Clarendon. The charred remains of a 33-year-old man was discovered by firefighters after his one-bedroom board dwelling was destroyed in an area known as Capture Land in Lioneltown, Clarendon. The deceased is suspected to be Kenroy Simpson, a resident of Capture Land. The police say they were alerted to the blaze by residents about 3:50 a.m. on Saturday. Upon the arrival of the first responders, the house was completely destroyed. Following cooling down operations, the charred remains of a male was found. The body appeared to have a broken right hand. The body was found close to the front door of the house. Assessments by the firefighters point to a possible accelerant close to where the body was found. However, the origin of the fire remains unknown. A machete was also seen next to the body. No one else appeared to have been at the home at the time of the fire. The police are probing the incident. Woman murdered in Gregory Park in Portmore. A woman was on Friday afternoon gunned down in a section of Gregory Park in Portmore, St. Catherine, called Mexico. The deceased has been identified as 47-year-old Natoya Roden, who was a mother of 8 children. The attack happened around 1:45 p.m. On Thursday, a woman was shot in the area. It's reported that the 39-year-old bartender was at work along Queens Drive in Gregory Park when 2 men posing as customers entered the bar. They reportedly ordered items and asked her about a man. They then brandished guns and fired shots, hitting her on the hands and legs. The hoodlums then fled. Investigations into both incidents are ongoing. Woman among 4 arrested for a gun seizure in Manchester. A 54-year-old woman is among 4 people arrested following the seizure of a gun in Old England, Manchester on Friday. Police said at about 3:30 p.m., a search was conducted at a house in Old England where a Taurus pistol with 10 9mm rounds was found. Police said the woman, 2 men both aged 25, and a third man aged 20 were taken into custody. Last week, a .38 revolver with 3 9mm rounds and 1.38 rounds was seized at a bus park in Mandeville. Man sentenced to more than 50 years for shooting at cops. A man who fired several shots at 3 policemen who attempted to accost him was sentenced to more than 50 years in prison in the Gun Court Division of the Home Circuit Court on Friday. The accused, 49-year-old Fitzroy Douglas from Christopher Road, Kingston 14, was sentenced following a trial before High Court Judge Justice Caroline Ty Powell. Douglas faced charges of 3 counts of shooting with intent, possession of a prohibited weapon, and unauthorized possession of ammunition. Justice Ty Powell sentenced Douglas to 15 years imprisonment on each count of shooting, 6 years and 6 months for the firearm, and 2 years and 6 months for the ammunition. The sentences for the shooting charges are to run concurrently. Allegations are that around 9:45 p.m. on January 12, 2021, the policemen were on mobile patrol in a marked service vehicle in the Kingston Western Division when they saw a crowd at what appeared to be a party. The policemen noticed Douglas, dressed in blue jeans and a multicolored shirt, walking briskly away from the crowd toward Little King Street. The cops reportedly pursued Douglas, called out to him, identified themselves, and told him to stop. Douglas reportedly ran onto Spanish Town Road and attempted to jump a wall. Upon the approach of the police, he allegedly pulled a gun from the front of his waistband and opened fire in the direction of the officers. The cops took cover and returned fire in Douglas's direction. He was shot and fell to the ground. When the police approached Douglas, he reportedly got up and ran off toward Collie Smith Drive, where he managed to elude the lawmen. A search of the area reportedly revealed a black Gen 4 Glock pistol containing a magazine with 2 9mm rounds where Douglas fell. The cops called for assistance, and a search of the community was conducted via a trail of blood that led to the premises where Douglas was found suffering from what appeared to be a gunshot injury to his right forearm. It was treated at the Kingston Public Hospital. No police officer was injured. However, the service unit and another vehicle were damaged by what appeared to be gunshots. The Independent Commission of Investigations, INDICOM, and the police processed the scene. Following investigations by Detective Constable Marvin Ellis from the Denhamtown CIB, Douglas was charged. Alleged fake custom employee charged with fraud. A corporate area man who allegedly pretended to work at the Commission of the Jamaica Customs Agency is accused of fleecing almost $2 million from 2 customers, claiming he could import vehicles. Charged on an indictment for conspiracy to defraud and obtaining money by means of false pretense is Gerald Dennis. Prosecutors allege that on June 3, the complainants handed over $1.6 million through cash and bank transfer for the importation of vehicles to Dennis, who was purporting to be a bearer for the Customs Agency's commissioner. The matter was adjourned until October 14 for mention. Energy Minister shuts down unacceptable JPS timelines, tells them to get the job done sooner. Energy Minister Darrell Vaz says he has directed the Jamaica Public Service Company, JPSCO, to do what is necessary to return light in the shortest time possible to the thousands of Jamaicans who have been without electricity since the passing of Hurricane Beryl on July 3. Vaz gave the directive during a meeting on Friday with the JPS managers and the directors and a team from the Ministry of Science, Energy, Telecommunications and Transport. Providing a status update during the meeting, JPS indicated that approximately 25,567 of 692,489 customers across the island are still without electricity. It added that several National Water Commission (NWC) pumps and the National Irrigation Commission (NIC) pumps used for farming irrigation are also still without electricity.
We had a very frank and open discussion in relation to the fact that we are 3 weeks into the restoration and they are giving me timelines that will take us from the end of July to the 12th of August for certain parishes. I've indicated to them that that is not acceptable and that we have to find ways to make up for the lost time and obviously increase the workforce. And that would mean additional external linesmen. It would mean, on my recommendation, the revision of current rates that are being paid to the contractors and getting new contractors who are not willing to work for the rates that were being offered by JPS to come on track. They have changed as a result of my representation on behalf of the people. The reporting mechanism, there will be no more reporting about sections of a community or a town. They will list all the communities that do not have light and when it is expected that they will have back light. It was a successful meeting. I'm expecting to get a revised report to present to Cabinet on Monday. 3 weeks with another 3 weeks in some areas is too much, especially in light of the fact that there is still a lot of work to be done as it relates to the restoration of NWC pumps, national irrigation pumps for the farmers, and last but not least, the several communities in all parishes that remain without electricity because people are suffering, and I want to restore normality to the lives of the Jamaican people in the shortest possible time, which means we have to do things in a disaster that would not necessarily be done in normal times.
JBN, we keep you informed. Please remember to subscribe, like, share, leave us a comment, and click the notification bell to receive our daily news items.